Okay, thank you very much. Um, so we should start now. Okay. So good day, everybody. Thank you for coming for this program. So this program is a satellite meeting of the APS meeting that was held in March 2026. So APS, American Physical Society, they had a meeting in March, and they allow us in different parts of the world to have satellite meetings. So this is one of the satellite meetings. And it wasn't restricted to just the week of the APS meeting. So we could spread it around. So we decided to spread it around to this time. So thanks again for joining. And this program is a program for 2 days, today, Monday, and tomorrow, Tuesday. Today, we have a panel discussion first, which is titled Physics in Africa. And then tomorrow, we have another one, which is titled Enhancing US-Africa Physics Collaboration. Okay, so I welcome you to this first one today, which is Physics in Africa. At first, we'll have a panel discussion for about 1 hour. After that, if you are still interested, we'll have breakout sessions where we will watch sessions from the conference, from the APS conference in Colorado. Okay. So, like I said, I'm happy to have all of you to this panel to discuss this important topic, which is physics in Africa. I believe this is a very important topic for many reasons. One of the reasons is that in the near future, there'll be more people will live in Africa and in another continent than in different parts of the world. There'll be a lot of people concentrated in Africa. And I think it's important for us to get our bearing right when it comes to physics, when it comes to science, when it comes to technology. Okay. So for us to discuss about how to enhance physics in Africa and how to promote physics in Africa, we have 5 people that will help us to do this. So the first person is Professor Zuhair Sekat. Okay. I'll tell you briefly about him. He's a faculty member at Mohammed V University in Rabat, Morocco, and he serves as the scientific director of the Institute for Advanced Studies at Mohammed VI Polytechnic. His work bridges fundamental and applied research with a focus on advanced materials, optics, and spectroscopy. He plays a key leadership role in fostering interdisciplinary research and high-level scientific training across Moroccan universities. So welcome, Professor Sekat. Yeah. The next person we're introducing is Professor Manse Diale. She's a professor at the University of Pretoria, South Africa, where she holds the prestigious South African Research Chair in Clean and Green Energy. Her research focuses on semiconductor physics, photovoltaics, and hydrogen production. And she contributes to sustainable energy solutions. She's widely recognized for advancing material science and for her commitment to mentoring young researchers in Africa. So welcome, Professor Diale. Yeah. The next panelist, is Dr. Yobosa Uwadie. She is the president of the Nigerian Association of Medical Physicists, which is a large organization in Nigeria. She is a distinguished medical physicist. She has been instrumental in advancing the practice of medical physics in Nigeria, particularly in the areas of radiation protection, diagnostic imaging, and radiotherapy. She has won different awards, and she advocates for quality assurance and safety standards in medical radiation use across the country. So welcome, Professor Yobosa. The next person is Dr. Marie Chantal Chulinyana. She is a researcher affiliated with the University of Rwanda and the Rwanda National Council for Science and Technology, NCST. Her work focuses on science policy, technology development, and research capacity building in Rwanda. She's actively involved in promoting evidence-based decision-making and strengthening national science, technology, and innovation frameworks. In addition, she is the president of the Rwanda Association for Women in Science and Engineering. So welcome, Dr. Marie Chantal. Finally, we have Dr. Garu Gebreyesus. He's a physicist at the University of Ghana. He specializes in electronic structure and computational material science. He's actively involved in the African School of Electronic Structure Methods and Application, assessment, which promotes advanced training and research in quantum simulations across the continent. His work focuses on understanding and predicting the properties of materials from first principles, contributing to the development of next generation functional materials. So thank you very much, Dr. Garu. You are welcome. And I'll welcome all the panelists and all the participants. So thank you very much. Okay. So we are going to start by asking a general question to each of the panelists. And I would like Professor Diale to start first. Okay. The question is, there are two questions, but you will have like 3 minutes to answer. You should just tell us one thing that you like about doing physics in Africa and one thing you dislike about doing physics in Africa. Or maybe you should precise that one thing you would like to change about doing physics in Africa. So just tell us one thing you like about doing physics in Africa. Take a few minutes to explain it. And one thing that you would like to change about doing physics in Africa. So first we start with Professor Diale.
Good afternoon, colleagues. It's wonderful to see all of you and all the familiar faces. You know, my motto is that I need to visit every African country to go and visit physics communities in universities. And when I go there, I don't expect you to give me any money. If you are able to give me lunch, that is perfect, because many of our researchers don't even have any money in their countries. One country that I have visited too much is Senegal. Ooh, it's like I'm a citizen in Senegal and I can't speak any of the languages there. I struggle. And then I want to speak about this physics. The reason why I'm visiting all these African countries, it's my own agenda, my own personal agenda. The physics is the fundamental study for understanding life. So without physics, we will not produce great leaders because many of our leaders cannot reason. My son went to University of Cape Town and did a degree in finance. It's called business science, BSc in business science, and he was majoring in mathematics. And then after finishing the degree, he said to me, hey, can you pay for me another basic degree? I said, oh no, why? He said, no, that finance degree didn't teach me how to think. So he went on to do an engineering degree. So this agrees with me that we need physics. I like us to really invest a lot in teaching physics in Africa, in all African universities. After all, teaching physics will come up with colleagues and future leaders who are able to reason. So the reasoning skills that we get from physics are important to be taught in schools, in universities. So that's what I like about teaching physics. It connects us, you know, like I'm sitting here. I know many of you, some of you have not met, but I have seen like Professor Umaka from Senegal, who is the president of the Physics Societies in West Africa. I've been to Rabat, Morocco. I've been to Mari. Mari, we talk every day. We really talk every day. She's my mentee. And I am very excited to see us investing in physics in Africa. So what I don't like about our work in Africa is that we are disconnected.
Okay.
We don't work together. You know, for me to get a person who will mark my master's degree student or PhD degree student, we struggle. But for me, I want to see my students seeing Africa as a home. So I would like us, this is my dislike, our disconnection. I would like us to connect. I really would like us to connect. That is very important.
Okay.
Yeah. So
thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So, um, Professor Diale likes the, physics in Africa because we connect, but still we are disconnected and we need to connect better. Thank you very much, Professor Sekat. Yeah,
I would say that
what you
first
like
of
about
all,
doing physics in Africa?
yes,
Yeah,
it's good
yeah.
to see some familiar faces and to see everybody. And I will not really defend physics. Physics is defending itself as well as other disciplines. Physics, I think, is extremely important, and we have to work towards introducing experimental physics in our research labs. Of course, education we have to do, but experimental physics is extremely important, and also links to other disciplines. For example, the fundamental effects in biology or in chemistry or in the main disciplines is physics. So physics is extremely important, and we have to equip our laboratories with research equipment, and we have to convince our governments that developing research labs with custom-made experiments is highly important, and this will allow to develop all the antennas, as you say, activities, and of course working together with Africa, joining efforts to work with African countries and also with America or Europe is very very important. I myself, I am advocating the one branch of physics, which is photonics, optics and photonics, in actually in Europe, in Africa, and this is really wonderful when you have see people from different countries thinking about the same thing, and this unifies people and gives a common sense and a brotherhood to work together. That's my word for today. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. So, the thing you would like to change is to get us more equipped, right? For the government to support physics more and for us, our labs to be more equipped. And the thing that you like is that physics is fundamental to every discipline. Yeah.
Yes.
You also mentioned something about connecting with other people, connecting with Europe and the USA. So I think these would be things that we could work on to change. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Japan as well, and all developed countries should work together with Africa to help develop physics in Africa.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Yeah. Our next panelist will be Dr. Yobosa Uwadie. So over to you, Dr. Yobosa, President, actually.
Thank you very much again for inviting me. I echo what the two previous speakers have said. Physics is the science of life. I don't think there's any course, any science course, or any course in the world that can literally explain everything going on in the universe. I have searched, and when I say this, people think I'm biased because I'm a physicist, but really there's really no course that can explain everything in the universe, even down to the food that we eat. Physics is that course. Physics is that foundation for every other subject, every other course, every other field to stand on. So that is what I love about physics, whether it's in Africa or it's in Tokyo or anywhere. I think as a physicist, you stand out. I see physicists as geniuses, just like Prof was saying, Professor Diale. There's no other course that when you listen to some people speak, I'm like, is your brain really, really, connecting? You understand? But when you hear a physicist speak or talk or do things in literally any branch, even in finance, in law, you can see the difference. We are analytical. I don't know. There's nobody that's as smart as a physicist. But what I do not like is that physics has been relegated. And by the way, I can't speak for the whole of Africa. Africa is a spectrum, so I'm going to speak from my own field of view as a Nigerian. Physics has been relegated to a course where you dump students who want to study engineering, who want to study physics, who could not get admitted into the university, they couldn't make the cutoff mark. I was recently looking at the list of courses for a particular university and the cutoff scores. to get. And I saw that physics scored very low. And I was like, when did this happen? There were some courses that were scoring higher than physics. Some courses that you don't even need to go to university to go and study are scoring higher than physics. That to me is very, very sad. And physics is in literally almost every university. So I don't like the fact that physics is now like a dumping ground. If you ask students, if you do a random survey, ask students, they'll tell you, no, I didn't choose to study. I'm like, do you know what you're missing out? And I don't blame them. Most of the people who are teaching physics, so if I was to change something, this is what I would change. Most of the people who are teaching physics in the university do not have the passion for physics, do not even understand physics. So how can you teach what you don't understand to students who see physics as an abstract course? Physics is not an abstract course. Maybe mathematics might be abstract, but not physics. Physics is life. You can see physics everywhere. So if I was to change that, I think that is one area I'll come in. Not everyone who is a lecturer in universities lecturing physics should be lecturing physics, because you cannot teach a subject that you don't understand. That's why students, they just memorize equations that they cannot connect with the real world. So let me stop there, because believe me, I can just continue talking. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yobosa. Thank you. Yeah. So you like physics because it explains everything. Okay. And then the thing you would like to change is to have most people in physics that are more skilled in Africa, that are more knowledgeable about the field. And so this is the thing you like to change. Yeah. So thank you very much. Yeah. We move on to Dr. Marie Chantal. So tell us one thing you like about physics in Africa,
right.
one thing you don't like, or one thing you would like to change about physics in Africa.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me today. I can see this is really a very crucial topic, and to talk about it in 1 or 2 minutes is hard. But the one thing that I truly enjoy about doing physics in Africa is teaching, as my previous speakers said, especially when you are teaching those early university students. There is something very rewarding about helping students understand a concept they are initially found difficult, because you know that always they say physics is difficult, it's abstract. But when you see the excitement when those ideas finally clicked, you say, okay, wow, I did something to these brains. So even more fulfilling is meeting them 1 year later or 2 years later, seeing them becoming what they have once dreamed of, knowing that you have really contributed to their life in a small way that you could do. So I also deeply value what we call community engagement, because as Omololo said, I am the president of one of the organization which really gives back to the society. And then most of the things that we do in STEM field, physics also included, we go back to the society with the kids, with the secondary school student, and then we do hands-on activity, especially in physics. Seeing using simple, local available materials, the curiosity, the enthusiasm that they have, how they are inspired, that also align with what Africa physicists can bring in the world. So that is really the two things that really help me enjoy what I do with physics. I don't know, I think you know all about ASFAP. This is an idea which is really looking into all the physics. And then in one of the report which is going on and which is going to be published soon, we saw that the community engagement and open science is really needed in Africa. So when we connect physics to everyday life and local challenges, we not only inspire the students, but also we make science relevant. And this gives more hope that when we are investing in this continent and we invest in a collaboration, Africa can build a vibrant and innovative scientific future. There are things that I want to change. One thing that I want to change, most of the things is about, someone said it about labs, because in most African country, we teach theoretically. And by teaching physics concepts with only theory, students don't really grab the idea. So we need hands-on activity. We have students can do more experience so that they can really understand. So this gap limits student ability to feel, understand, and apply what they learn. So we can really try to have infrastructure of a crowd classroom that we have to divide into, we really need, this kind of, investment in our education. I can stop there. Otherwise, I will talk and talk.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Marishanta. Yeah, so physics in Africa, you like the fact that you are impacting life with physics in Africa. What you like to change is we'll have more labs and be able to do experiments and do more practice. Yeah, thank you very much. Last but not the least is Dr. Garu Gebreyesus. So you should tell us what you like about physics in Africa and one thing you don't like or one thing you would like to change.
Thank you for having me. I think when you talk about this at the last, it is always maybe difficult to bring a new idea. So what I like most is actually what my colleagues were saying, the impact, When you teach in Africa, you have really a high impact when you do it properly. You have a young, talented people, which you can actually teach them very well. So whenever I teach, that is what comes to my mind and what pushes me with a very positive energy. The second one is building a community, One of the things that Prof actually said was the networking, We need to create a community. For example, we can take a very simple one model, which is assessment. So that is also one thing that makes me really happy to contribute in Africa, building the community. And the other thing is also, I see really a big potential in the use, which maybe one of the topics that we will discuss about the brain drain is one of the reason is because we have the human capital. So thinking that you are teaching physics in a big human capital is also something that makes always to feel with a positive energy. What I want to change, maybe a lot, but I put it in perspective. One of the things is, we have been discussing about infrastructure, limited resource and so on, bad condition of service and so on. I think I wish if I could change the policies of the, even there is a move that I am aware in African Union about science, but I would love to change their framing, and also each country to have a clear policy that really depend on development of science, which is particularly physics. That is what I wish if I could change. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ghebreyesus. So you like the fact that physics makes an impact in Africa, and of course, what we like to change is to get more physics into the policy, and for Africans to have a policy about physics. So this is one thing that you like to have effected. Thank you very much. So I'm grateful to all the panelists. Now I'll ask you different questions specifically. I want to ask Dr. Yobosa the first specific question. Yeah, right? Yeah. So the question is this. How well are African universities preparing the next generation of physicists? And what reforms do you think are urgently needed in the curriculum of teaching, the teaching curriculum, right? So do you think African universities are preparing us well for the next for the next phases of physics? Or do you think we need to have changes in the curriculum? In particular, you can talk about things related to medical physics because you're an expert in medical physics. So currently, do you think the curriculum is adequate? Or do you think it has to change, and in which areas do you think we need to change the curriculum?
Okay, thank you. Still building on my previous point. Like I said, I can't speak for the whole of Africa, so Africa is just too wide. The answer is no. I do not think that we are preparing well for the next generation. So you talked about the curriculum, for example. There are many branches of physics. Once again, if you do a random survey, a university physics students, and you would check from if you go from one university to another, you see there's a variation in even their knowledge. There's a very big knowledge gap. Most students are not even aware of the various applications of physics and what physics in their heads. They're probably thinking you study physics and you end up being a teacher, So they need to be exposed to these various areas. Physics, like I said again, is the only science that allows you to do anything and be anything you want to be in the world. So at that university level, students need to be exposed to various aspects of physics and given the opportunity to now decide, okay, this is what I want to do. I love medicine. Okay, I can apply my physics in medicine. I love telecoms. I can apply my physics in telecoms. I love astrology. I can apply my physics in astrology, but the first thing is to be exposed. But we lack subject matter experts. That's what I've seen. Some lecturers, I think, are teachers, not even lecturers. Because as a lecturer, for you to call yourself a lecturer, you should be an expertise in a particular subject area. You are not a teacher. Teacher is someone who teaches. I see people who teach, they can teach all the courses from year 1 to year 4. I mean, well, maybe, but we need more subject matter experts. So our curriculum needs to be
Broader,
edited.
right?
What?
Okay. I was saying our curricula need to be broad.
Yes, we need to, and then we now need to start to create awareness of physics right from even the secondary school level. Because most people come into the university, like I said, physics is like a dumping ground for those people that want to study engineering and medicine. But by the time you start to create awareness from the secondary school level, I got to love physics because I had a very good secondary school physics teacher. So my love for physics started from the very basic. So we need to go back there and start to prepare minds of students before they even get to the university. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Yobosa. Yeah. So that takes us to the next question for our panelists. And the question is for Dr. Marie Chantal. So Dr. Yobosa mentioned something about physics at an earlier age. So Dr. Marie Chantal, what role can secondary school physics education play in building a stronger pipeline of future scientists on the continent?
Yeah, thank you so much. Esma Yobosa said at the last sentence that she mentioned, said that we have to start from the early age. Yes, that's true. I think that secondary school physics is very critical in building a strong pipeline in the future scientist. But we have to think also that this can also start from the early age, let's say pre-primary, through primary and secondary education. Meaning that, yes, from the primary and pre-primary, we don't need big concepts, but kids can also play with, this kind of physics concept. They don't know what they are doing, but, they have to rethink about it. So I think that also by the time the student reach secondary school, physics becomes the foundation of the scientific thinking, because as one of us was saying that, like, physicists are smarter. So if they are smart, it starts from early age, like this problem solving, thinking, analytic skills, all those kind of things. They start from early stage. It is at this stage that the student encounter the key concepts that shape the understanding of the world. While some concepts are challenging, there is also where curiosity grows, especially when students are encouraged to ask questions and think critically. However, as emphasized in the one of concept that, or some of the discussion that we always have, there are a major challenge. Lack of qualified teacher, as my previous speaker said. Inadequate laboratories, we say that. Limit access to technology. Addressing these all challenges is essential because good physicist teacher play a transformative role. We need role model on that ways, because our role model, if it wasn't for our mentors, our teachers, we couldn't be here. They do more than teach, they inspire. With proper training, support, and continuous professional development, teachers can foster curiosity, confidence, and creativity. We also need to promote inquiry-based and hands-on learning, use local relevant examples, integrate digital tools and open science resource, strengthen teacher training and network. When students have a strong foundation and role models, they are all more like, so they are going to do physics. They know what, because when you are teaching, you give real examples, you inspire them, and then they can continue when they go to the university. They know what they want, and they can be more innovators and develop what we need for the world and the continent. So I think
Thank you. Yeah.
we play a big role.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Dr. Marie Chantal. So this is good. We need role models. We need people that will teach us physics very well. But the thing about it is when you train these people to be very good role models and teach people, then America, Europe, the West, they snatch them. For instance, there are many people going to the UK now to teach physics. So many of them get greener pastures. And by the way, it's not only Africans that are leaving to go to other countries. People in France also are leaving to go to the US, people in other countries, maybe France, are leaving to go to Germany. So it's not just us. So that brings me to the next question for Dr. Garu. So Dr. Garu, how can we retain talented African physicists? And at the same time, we want to keep those that are abroad. We're not saying you should not go abroad, but we want to keep them connected to the African continent. How can we do this? We want to retain talented African physicists, and at the same time, those that are abroad, we want them to remain connected to us. How can we do this?
Okay, thank you again. I think I will pick from where you stopped. So usually when we discuss about the brain drain, people usually focus on people leaving the continent. I think that framing is too limited. In physics, in general, in science, mobility is natural and it has to be even necessary. So the real challenge is not that African physicists go abroad, but many of them became disconnected from the African science. So I prefer to think in terms of brain circulation rather than brain drain, as you indicated in your title. So the key question is now, how do we design a system where mobility strengthens rather than weakens African science? So part of the answer is retention, actually. So many talented physicists, which we all know, they don't leave the continent only because of the salary. They leave because of limited in research infrastructure, funding, and the difficulty of building sustained research groups. So if we improve these foundations, like computing access, stable early career support, and a clearer academic pathways, we can retain far more talents. But equally important is building a strong intellectual ecosystem. So I will come again to one of the initiatives that I'm familiar with, ASESMA, made actually to create a very vibrant intellectual community, which we can think of like as a model of brain circulation practice. So we also need, as you have mentioned, to actively integrate the diaspora, because in most cases, African physicists abroad should not be seen as a lost talent, but as a part of a distributed research system where we should have a structured mechanism that actually facilitates like joint supervision, visiting lectureship, remote mentoring, and co-led projects can keep them scientifically embedded in African institutions. I think in the area where we are living now, virtual world is become very popular. This integrating the African diaspora should be really possible to do. So finally, associations like African Physical Society or any similar professional bodies can play a strong role in bridging actually the African society to the African institutions. So the goal is not to stop people from living. The goal is to ensure that wherever African physicists are, they remain scientifically at home in African research ecosystem. This is what I can say in a very short 2 minutes, maybe could be more than 2 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Garu. So this is very helpful. So I like the concept of brain circulation. So it's not a brain drain where they've left, but they are circulating and still moving around and contributing to Africa. Yeah. So so the next question goes to Professor Mansidiale. With respect to many of the things we've spoken about, including brain circulation, including the labs, what do you think African governments and institutions should prioritize in order to build a sustainable physics research ecosystem over the next decade? So from now, this is 2026 to 2036. What are the things you think we should prioritize to build a sustainable physics research ecosystem? Oh, you're muted, Professor Diale, you're muted.
Thank you so much, colleagues, for all the answers that you have given. They have really encouraged me to continue with my quest to see me going to every African country and offer what I think is best. For those who are in computational physics, you need to use AI, machine learning, to improve physics collaborations and outputs in physics. And then for the research experimental, we need to build labs that will be able to address the great need for our production of the end point of what we do in the lab. The first thing that I want us to look at is that our research must just not be about publications, but it also has to be about the outputs, like what is that we are producing from the laboratory. I've just been reading a PhD thesis, a master's thesis, where they speak about using nanoparticles for cancer therapy. And last week, I attended a semiconductor conference in Kenya, where we were talking about building a semiconductor laboratory. For us to arrive at that level of producing these best things, we need laboratories that are active, laboratories that will be used by everyone. You know, when you get a very brilliant student from another African country applying to come to you, when you look at their credentials, oh my God, they don't have any experimental experience. But immediately you engage the student and you train the student, you realize this is a dynamite, this is a very brilliant student. So we need laboratories. I would like to say in Africa, look at what the South African government has invested in building infrastructure. They say this national infrastructure, where you apply for this money to buy a particular piece of equipment, and you are going to allow everybody who want to use that equipment to come to your lab and use it. So we need to build infrastructure, very strong infrastructure, so that when our students comes to master's degree, they already know how to touch a particular instrument. I encourage students, wherever they are, that they know the theory of an instrument and be able to use it. Even though you have not yet used the instrument, I want you to know the theory of that instrument. And then the last thing that I would say is that we need to learn to build our own equipment. We always go into other countries buying XRD from Germany, from Bruker, from Oxford Instruments, but we know the fundamentals of an XRD. So we really need to learn to buy pieces and put these things together and produce our own machines. At the University of Pretoria, there are a lot of old machines which we refurbish by adding some little money in this and that. So we really need to want to build our own instruments so that it is cheaper for us and not go to Europe, and then engage AI and machine learning and computational physics and make students aware of the opportunities that are there. There are lots of opportunities. Do you know, most of my students who did a degree in physics, semiconductors, experimental, hey, they go and work for data companies and they work for the banks. And I asked them, why are you working in the bank? The bank is looking for people who can do risk analysis. The insurances are looking for people who can do risk analysis. And we also, finally, we need a strong medical physics work in the continent. I met someone in the US some time ago who came from DRC who says that there is no medical physics in Africa. I said, no, there's something wrong with you. There's lots of it. You know, like a doctor, let me see, I want to say your name, Dr.
Dr.
Iebosa, saying, being the leader of medical physics in Nigeria, we need to make students aware of the work of medical physics. You're not a medical doctor, but you control the machines in the ICU and any other place in the hospital. So there is a lot of what we can do, but I would be very happy to see us engaging and working together towards these goals. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Professor Jale. Actually, one of the things that you said struck me, and that is the fact that you are saying that we should build our own equipment. You know, all over the world, the cost of MRI is high versus, say, CT scan or X-ray. So I was actually thinking a few days ago that maybe we should make cheap MRI machines that are high resolution and cheap. And I don't know, maybe if many of us make them or learn how to make them, this will help medicine a lot in Africa. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I would like to ask a question to Professor Sekat. Thank you for still being with us. Yeah. So one of the things you mentioned, Prof, when you were speaking, is we need to connect with other physicists in other parts of the world, in the US, in Europe, in Japan. Is that I don't want to say our problems are different, they are not, but our priorities are different. Yeah, this is what I want to say. For instance, in Africa, one of the problems is limited power supply. So if I do some research, I can do some work to supply electricity to a hospital or a clinic in Africa. I don't think anybody in the US would take that as serious research because they already have electricity and everything. Okay. So, but if you collaborate with them in the West, I think, so my question is how do we make sure that we
I lost you.
Yeah, instead of just following what people are doing in other parts of the world. For instance, like in Nigeria, we need batteries, but the batteries we need is for home storage and storing the electricity, not for Tesla cars or BYD cars, not for cars. The ones for cars need to be light. The ones we store in our houses, we don't care that they are light. We just want something to store the electricity. But you see, it's like our priorities are kind of different. So how can we make sure we work together and I think we can, yeah. So yeah, go ahead, Prof.
Okay, my answer to you is very short. Very,
okay.
very. You do both ways.
Okay, that's smart.
Okay, and of course, and I've been working with Africa for more than 20 years trying to develop science and technology.
Yeah.
And one word which is a killer for the scientist is actually they ask him, you please do something useful for Africa. It means you have to abandon the real physics. This is what
Yeah.
it means. And one real scientist will never do that. Will
Yeah.
never abandon science to do something which is okay. Never abandon science. So
Okay.
my approach is actually to do you pick up problems which are useful for the community, local community, African community, but also you keep up the high level work with try to keep up with developed countries. Otherwise, you will always be lacking behind.
Like him
That's
behind.
a short answer to your question. And
Yeah.
you have to be extremely careful to the claims of the politicians because they will keep you always back. You, as a scientist, you have ambition and you want to be developed and you want to compare yourself to the best. And this is the best way to move forward. Okay?
Like him.
This does
Yeah.
not mean that you do not please your local people. It means that you have to do both ways. Otherwise, no scientist can survive in Africa. That's my answer to you.
Okay.
By the way, it
Thank you
was
very
a very good
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much, Prof. I appreciate it. We
Welcome.
appreciate this. Yeah. So
Now
I
I'm
think
sorry I have to leave you. I have to leave you because I have some other commitment. So I
oh,
wish
okay.
you best of luck, and
Yeah.
I will keep in touch.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you very much, Prof. Yeah.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Prof.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah. Okay. So let's continue. So uh, I wanted to ask if there are questions from the Q&A, questions from the audience. Let me read this one. This one is a special, we are talking about mentor models. So this one is a special shout out to Dr. Yobosa, who's passionate about mentoring the younger ones here in Nigeria. The writer, he says, my first exposure to medical physics was during the 2024 NAM Hamatan School, and I was really inspired by Dr. Yobosa and Jesu Tofumi during the sessions. I have been offered the Erasmus Nuclear Physics Master's admission, medical application track on partial funding, few hours. As I celebrate this and I hope for an upgrade to full funding, I can't help but remember the Hamatan School and people like Dr. Yobosa who inspired me. So thank you very much, Dr. Yobosa, for doing already what we are talking about. Yeah. So if you have questions, if you are in the chat, you have questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll take the questions before we take a final question
Dr.
from.
Akin, there's another question. If you don't mind, I would like to answer that because it's the person is asking specifically about Nigeria. There's a question. Can you
Okay,
see?
yes. So please go ahead. Yeah.
343. The person is asking, I think it was Professor Diale or Marie, I don't know who spoke about role models.
Yes.
The person is saying in Nigeria, some lecturers which you might think could be your role model are not really accessible to have a strong relationship as to being a role model. How can this role model be put into effect in various universities? I understand what this person is saying. You see, when I was a student, an undergraduate physics
Sorry,
student.
please, could you restate the question so that everybody
Oh,
understands?
okay. So the person is speaking. How do we solve the problem of role models? If in your country you don't have role models, they are not accessible. So how do we implement this, principle of having a role model? I think that's what the person is trying to say. And I want to use.
Okay.
So I understand what this person is saying as a Nigerian. When I was a student at the undergraduate level, there was this impression we had about physics lecturers that the saddest human beings on earth or the saddest scientists are usually physicists. I don't know if anybody heard that. That was the gist going around. So there's that impression physicists are not accessible and all that. But you see, the good thing about the era we are in now, we're in the digital age. It's fine. I don't like people to define their selves by the environment they are in. So if in your university you don't have a role model, you have a role model now. I mean, on the panelists now, you have people from Rwanda, Ghana, South Africa. There is telementoring. You don't have to have a role model in your city or in your university. You can reach out to others outside your university, outside your community, as long as they are ready to be accessible. Don't go and suffer in silence. We're in the age of technology now. You can connect with anybody anywhere in the world and get what you need. So please, I understand what he or she is saying, because I've also been a victim of that too. But I'm like, that is not an excuse. Reach out to anybody anywhere in the world. That person can serve as your role model.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. I think Professor Diale had something to say about that. Do you, Prof? Prof. Diale, do you want to say something about that? You are muted.
Yes, that's why I was saying AI and machine learning and the connections that we have are helping us a lot to connect. So we really have to become the physicists that are accessible, that are, for example, we speak about glamour, physicists who are different, where young people can have a look at us and say, oh, I want to be like Dr. Iobose because there is life in medical physics. And then one of the medical physicists one time said to me, doctors were shocked of what we do because they were not aware that this is the courses that we can do and study these courses so that we can become better. So for me, I really agree with this mentoring. We need to mentor each other. Let me mention that I have mentored senior people from the University of Dar es Salaam, University of Zambia, University of Rwanda, and people have become professors. They were just ordinary lecturers with PhD. I have helped them and say, come to my lab, be ready to do something, come and spend some 3 months in my lab so that you can come out with a paper, so that you can present the paper at your university. So let's be role models. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prof. Yeah. Um, Jessica Female had her hand up, so if she has a question, and then also you can, if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask the questions. And then there's a question in the chat from Professor George Mayali. What is the best way to use AI in physics?
Okay.
Yeah. Who would like to answer this?
Maybe
Garo.
George also sent me by private, so maybe I should come in.
Yes, please.
I think for AI, we should use AI as an accelerator, not to replace our thinking. Okay, for me, we can use AI to accelerate our output if you want, but not to really replace our thinking. So we have to, I mean, if you bring it down to our field where George will understand very well, we can use AI now to probably generate input files, integrate all these things, maybe also do a little bit critical literature review, like a gap, which might be more accelerator. But the intuitive thing, the physics thinking should be actually still be on our side. So if I have to put it in the workflow that we usually do, for me is the physics is on us, and then there is a domain knowledge. From this domain knowledge, we can use AI to accelerate the output. That is how I would put it in the language that we can all share.
Can I make a comment about AI? Now,
Yes, sure.
AI is going to expose who the real physicists are and who the quack physicists. When I mean quack, I'm sorry to say, but those that do not really understand physics. AI is going to push us to be more hands-on now, because we are so theory. Physics is not theory. AI can do the theory for us. So physics and can translate physics will be ahead of the game. So AI is now going to be a what's the word now? A dissector. It's going to be a
Okay.
dissector. Yeah. So we need to be careful as physicists.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. You could unmute yourself and ask a question.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I just want to
Yeah.
touch on the mentorship. I think in 2021 there was this massive migration of graduate students moving to the US, UK, and everywhere. And then I came up with an idea of something that Professor Gary said, brain circulation, where we can graduate students that are in the US or wherever, they can provide mentorship to undergraduate students that are in the country, in the continent, and then these undergraduate students can also be trained or mentored. They're receiving mentorship from the postgraduate students, and the undergraduate students can go to secondary school to teach high school physics. So I have tried this for like 3 schools in Ibadan, where I am providing mentorship to two undergraduate students, and then they go to secondary school to teach physics for 2 hours every week. So, and also for an undergraduate student, your mentorship does not start with your lecturer. It starts with those students that are directly ahead of you. If you're a first year student, mentorship starts with the 200 level student, 300 level student, 400 level students, because these are the people that are going to be faculties in the future. These are the people that would, these are your connection. You're building your mentorship starts immediately. When you're a first year student, you have the immediate, senior students as your mentor. And also your mentorship with your lecturer starts from the first day of class. So you're not going to start requesting for mentorship after you have graduated and you needed a recommendation letter from that lecturer. So you have to build relationships that you can build on later. And then there's LinkedIn. You can search for anybody and send a message to them. Take advantage of all the resources that you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think that is good advice and is in line with what Dr. Yubosa said. Thank you. We'll be closing soon, closing this panel discussion soon. But I wanted to give a chance to each of the panelists to give us an advice in this respect. So for each of the panelists, if you could give one piece of advice to a young African student who wants to pursue a career in physics today, what would it be? So Professor Diale should go first, please. If you can give one advice to a young student who wants to be a physicist, what will you tell the person?
The first advice, the one advice that I want to students to be aware of is that physics is everywhere. Start knowing that everywhere there's physics around you. The cars that are driving, as you see cars are driving, think about the velocity, the speed is physics. So when you go to the hospital, remember that that X-ray machine where they say you go for X-ray is physics. If you go to electricity, remember that electricity is physics. The advice that I would say to all students, all young people who are aspiring to become something in life, see physics all around you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Yeah. Dr. Garu Gebreyesus, yeah. What advice would you give?
Yeah, well, I think it's always difficult to talk after Prof. So for me physics is an international language. And one of the topics Omololu gave me about this brain circulation is because if you study physics, regardless where you are, you belong to the global community. Yeah. So be excellent and work in a network. Don't be isolated star. So physics is a universal language. So it doesn't mean that you study physics and you will be a teacher and so on and so on. No, you are among the top scientists that are actually contributing to the revolution of technology in the world. So be excellent on it. Learn your fundamentals very well. We are living in a world where Dokshu was advocating for most of these wonderful lecturers in Nigeria, and also she was complaining for some of them. I think now we are going beyond that, as she indicated. Everyone has a smartphone who will have an access to the best university lecturer in the world, which was not in my time. So you have teachers everywhere in your pocket. Make sure that you use it. Be excellent in your fundamentals and work in network. Don't be an isolated star. This is what I can say.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Garu. Yeah. Then Dr. Marie Chantal, what advice would you give a young person who wants to go into physics?
Okay, for the young person who want to do physics, as we all know, it wasn't easy for the first time that we encounter physics. Yes, physics is not about intelligence. You have to know that. You have to be persistent. Otherwise, you are going to often spend long stretches confused, stuck on a problem that don't make sense, but that is something that you have to deal with. It is normal. But what separates good physicists is the habit to push through it, and you will avoid those confusion. You have to ask better questions, and then you have to know who to ask them. Because as they were saying, you have now internet everywhere. You have to search for someone who knows that concept. You reach out to them. Because now people are so kind. It's not like before. Yes, our professors were, we know what we are talking about. So stay disciplined, curiosity, and then, yeah, we are going to fly higher. And then we are going to have you as our future scientists to solve our problem,
Okay.
energy problem, you have a lot of problem. So it is you who is going to solve them.
Okay. Thank you very much, Marie Chantal. So we'll let Dr. Yubosa have the last word. Yeah.
And to the young, anyone who wants to study physics, I'll say go for it. Shut your ears to anyone or anything that is saying, making physics look like a, substandard course of study. If you're not a medical doctor, you're not an engineer. Physics is the only course that makes you a genius if you're not a genius already. And Dr. Gary said you become one of the top scientists. No, I don't. You're not one of the top. At the very top, go and check out the greatest scientists of all time. They are all physicists. So go for that physics. And please try to understand physics. A lot of people just memorize the equations. Read to understand physics. Physics is not abstract. Get that mindset out of your head today. It is not an abstract course. It is the science of life. It's the science of the universe. So make sure you understand physics because it's going to form the very foundation of everything you can ever be or want to be in life.
So I kind of transfer who's here now.
All right.
No problem. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Yubosa. So we're going to end this panel discussion now, but I'll make a few announcements. The first thing is the American Physicals. So I thank everybody and we thank all our panelists. So I don't know, let's give them a virtual round of applause. How do you do that? I think there's a react button and you can give a thumbs up or you can clap in the react. Okay. Thank you very much. So thank you very much to all of you. Yeah. So I'll have a few announcements. The first announcement is we'll be continuing tomorrow. There'll be another panel discussion tomorrow on enhancing the US-Africa physics collaboration. So please join us at the same time tomorrow. Today, for the next 2 hours, we have a joint watching of programs from the APS Global Summit that happened in Colorado in March. So the American Physical Society, they've been very kind to give us coupons to be able to watch recordings from the conference. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break up into groups, 4 groups. You choose whichever room you want to go to. One is medical physics, one is condensed matter material science, the other is climate physics, and the fourth one is high energy physics. So you can go to any room that you want to go to, okay? And there will be somebody there that will together you watch some of the videos. The videos are already selected, so you just go there and watch. If you are tired and you want to go home, yes, you can go home. But one more thing about that is APS. You can join APS. So I think tomorrow we'll have a little bit more time and we'll be able to show you how to join the American Physical Society. At the same time, in Africa, we are setting up something called the Physics in Africa, which is a group that cares for physicists. So it's just a group that cares for physicists. So if you are looking for a job as a physicist, the group should be able to help you. If you want to gain more knowledge about different things, the group should be able to help you. And things like that, the group should be able to help you with. So we'll tell you more about it later. There's the African Physics newsletter, which is also available. So tomorrow we'll give you a link to be able to subscribe to the African Physics newsletter. And of course, there's the African Physical Society, and which is a physical society that encapsulates many other physics societies in Africa. Okay. Apart from watching that you watch today, if you would like to have a code to be able to watch privately, in those rooms, somebody will take your address and we'll be able to send you the code to be able to watch. And the person also later on, maybe tomorrow, will show you how to access the videos. Okay. One other thing, the American Physical Society, they've given us, I don't know if you can see it, this is a lapel. So the lapel is something you wear on your clothes. So I have 100 of them here. The number of participants is like 78, 79. So somehow I'm going to get it across to everybody. So if you want a lapel, okay, we have your email addresses, and then I think I'll be able to send you a lapel. I'll send some to Professor Garu and other people in Ghana, so he'll be able to distribute them there. Professor Diale in Rwanda, I'll be able to get them to people in Rwanda. Dr. Yobosa, where are you based?
I'm behind your house.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'll be able to get some across to you, and then you help to. So there are 100 of them. So it just says global physicists, and it's good to have this. Yeah. So for now, you can break out and go to different sessions that you want to go to. So you are.
What are the different sessions again? Sorry, please. You mentioned 4. I only had 2.
Yeah, something is already calling you. So the sessions are medical physics, one.
Okay.
Then the other one is high energy physics, climate physics, and condensed matter material science. Oh, okay. So I don't know. So I think, what should I say? Broadcast message. So I should say, please join the room. Okay. So there's a breakout session, and you can just join anyone. I think, so you should have a message telling you to join the room, right? Do you see a message telling you to join the room?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but it's not doing anything. It's just a message. Are we supposed to click on it and it's not?
Yeah, so I think you should, yeah, so I think maybe you click on it and you join the room. Or Marishanta, how do you do this? Or Jesse Tofumi, how do you do this? Because I think I've set all the rooms. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so you just joined the room. Somebody already joined. Ayo Media Jai already went to condensed matter materials.
Okay.
Oh, you put us in the rooms.
No, I didn't put you. You choose your room yourself.
Okay, I can see. You have to go to more.
Let me check.
You have to go to more and go to breakout rooms.
Oh, I can see them. Let me check. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So go to more breakout room and then go there, and yeah. So choose the rooms that you want to. Maybe medical physics, condensed matter, climate physics, and energy. Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay.
So you'll be there for like 2 hours, and then we'll meet again tomorrow for a panel discussion, and then also another breakout session. Yeah, those that are interested in having a coupon code to be able to watch on their own, we'll give you the coupon code later today or tomorrow, and then show you how to watch the videos on your own. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Garo. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Yobosa. It was good to meet you. Yeah.
Yes, and you too. Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.